If you're a gym owner and you want to get super nerdy and you want to understand way more about your business, I'm going to walk you through the 5 stats that every gym owner should know, but most don't actually know. We're going to get pretty nerdy on this one. And all of these numbers and these ratios and what we talk about are very important for any business. And these are the things that we look at here at Gym Launch in order to understand the true health of a business. And these are just 5 of many stats that we look at, but these 5 are some really cool ones that can give you a lot of insight into whether your business is in a good spot and it's healthy and it's growing and it's profitable, or you know what, it's not in a great spot. I need to improve it. My name is Cale Owen. I'm the CEO of Gym Launch, Prestige Labs, and gymowners.com. And for the last 6 years, I have been working directly with thousands of gym owners around the world to help them reach more people, change more lives, and build a wildly profitable business. Our entire companies, all of them, are built for gym owners, by gym owners. And as a former gym owner myself, all of these ring true. And frankly, if I had just started out, I wish I would have known this. All right. Now, if you are just starting out though, there's another video that I went through. It's just the basic 5 metrics that every gym owner should be able to track and have to track. So if you haven't seen that one, make sure you go back. Make sure you're tracking those. These are just a little bit more of a snippet of an advanced one. All right. So the first one is simple to me, and it should be simple to you once I explain it, but it is CAC. Costs to acquire a client. The reason why this one's really important is you need to understand how expensive it is to grow your business. How much is it gonna cost me to go out there and acquire a client? So let me give you an example. Let's say for some reason it costs you $100 to go get a new client through ad spend, marketing expenses, your time, effort, sales commission, all of your expenses that go into getting a new member. So that could be your ad spend, your CRM or your marketing, your lead generation, whatever it is, including time spent on this, including commission. All of that goes into the cost to acquire a client. It's all the expenses and time that goes into all the way up until that person gives you money. And then everything else after that is gonna be an operating expense. But up until that point, that's a marketing expense, a CAC, right? Cost to acquire a client. So let's say it cost me $100, but in reality, long-term, the average client comes in and they only pay me over time $300 in the lifetime of the client, right? And we're gonna get into that in just a little bit. But let's say they only pay me $300. Well, it's gonna be really hard for me to grow because if they only end up paying me on average $300 for the length of the time they're in my business, but it costs me a third of that to get them, I'm not gonna be able to scale or grow my business because I'm gonna have no cash because I got all my operating expenses, I've got all my other stuff right in here, which means I make no profit. So I'm not gonna grow. And so there I have 2 options. I need to decrease my CAC or I need to increase the lifetime value of the clients. Understanding how much it costs you to acquire a client is really, really important because it's gonna affect how much you should charge when they come in, what your prices should be set at, and it's gonna also really impact how much profit you make when you sign up clients, all right? So CAC, really important. Gotta understand how much it costs to acquire a client. The other thing with CAC and the metrics that go into CAC, real quick, are gonna be things like ad spend. What's my lead cost? How much does it cost to get a lead? What's my schedule rate of appointments? What's my show rate? And then how many am I actually selling? So if you wanna find it out, all you have to do to figure out this ratio is take all of your expenses for the month, your marketing expenses, and then you just simply divide it by the number of new members you sold that month, all right? That's super easy. So let's say you spent $2,000 all in on your CRM, your ad spend, all that stuff, and you sold 10 people. So now it equals CAC of $200. And that was your CAC. And so over time, you get to see these trends. And the goal is to have your CAC as low as possible. That's the goal. That's CAC. The second one is gonna be what we call a 30-day cash cycle. This one is not as important for some businesses where they work on like net 30 and things like that. But hey, you're a gym owner, you care about cash because cash collected is really the lifeblood of your business. You need to have cash collected. You need to have cash coming into the business in order to sustain your business, be able to grow it, and be able to take that money and be able to invest it into marketing to go get more people or to pocket it for profit. So 30-day cash cycle is really, really important number to track. Now, what is it? 30-day cash cycle is tracking how much, on average, how much cash you collect from a new member in their first 30 days. That includes their sign-up fee. Maybe that's supplements that they buy. Maybe that's a conversion where you convert them into a paid in full. Maybe you get them to, if you're like our gym owners in Gym Launch, our clients, where day 1 they sign up and let's say you're selling them right into a recurring membership. They pay you day 1 and then 28 days later, they're paying you again. So now you get 2 turns within 30 days. You wanna make sure that you're tracking how much cash am I actually collecting from clients? Because If you don't know this, it's gonna be hard to understand how to manage your cash flow. Because if you know this and you know how much I'm collecting, it could be low. Now you know, okay, I can figure out ways to collect more cash from someone. For example, a lot of gyms, when they sign up people, they sign them up and they just sign them up straight into, they give them a trial and then they sign them up straight into EFT or reoccurring membership, just a basic membership. Let's say it's $150 and they bill every month. So that person comes in, you sign them up. Let's say they have a 7-day trial or 3-day trial. Well, you're 3 days in, you haven't collected any cash, you're not selling them anything. Then you convert them into a membership. So 3 days in, you collect $150. Great. Well, the rest of that month, if you do nothing else, you have to wait all the way to the next month until you collect another $150. But what happens if it costs you $200 to acquire that client? You lost $50 in that month. You lost $50. Now you're like, yeah, but the LTV of the client and all this stuff. Yeah, well, guess what? Most churn for gyms happens in the first 90 days. And if you just keep repeating that cycle based on all your expenses and your gross profit and all your margins, on average, this is why gym owners struggle to basically create cash in their business. And so how do we fix that? Well, when you track this, the goal is to increase, on average, how much cash you collect. You can do that from charging more money upfront. You can sell supplements. Excuse my handwriting this way. It's very hard to write sideways, by the way. You can sell subs. You can sell shirts, apparel, right? I'm just gonna put app there. You can sell apparel. You do upsells into personal training. You can sell into PIFs, like paid in fulls. You can do lots of different things within the first 30 days, which, by the way, is the best time to close people and upsell them and sell them things because they are the most motivated within the first 30 days because they just started a new journey. They're like, I need all these things. This is by far the best time to capitalize on that. And so if you can do this, your goal is now to increase how much cash you collect. And if you do that, guess what you do with all that cash? Not only do you get to pocket some for profit, but you get to then drive that back into marketing, which means I can spend more to go out there and acquire clients. And I know that, let's say on average, if my 30-day cash cycle is $500 and it's costing me $100 to acquire a client, I'm just gonna take that $400 and I'm gonna go and get 4 more clients every single time. And I'm just gonna keep growing, and I'm just gonna keep growing, and just keep growing. Now we know, in reality, it doesn't always work like that. You're not always gonna acquire clients for $100. But if you're in that range and that's the average, great. Just keep pouring that money back in, and then you stack so quickly. Now you have a full gym with reoccurring revenue, and you're making enough profit, you're in a really good spot. And so understanding your 30-day cash cycle is super important. So start tracking that. All you do is start tracking when someone comes in within the first 30 days, on average, how much revenue, how much cash do I collect from that person? And your goal is to be able to extract as much cash as possible in that first 30 days. Next one is lifetime value, LTV, lifetime value of a client. What is it? It is on average, how much revenue I am going to collect from an average member. So on average, how much money am I gonna collect from someone? Why do I want that? Well, this will tell me the overall value of my business and my offering in the marketplace. So when I look at the LTV, I'm gonna know a lot about my pricing and my churn. So this is gonna tell me, is my business actually valuable based on the amount of money? Because you're gonna be able to find your length of engagement, average length of engagement in here. You're gonna be able to find a lot of information in this. And so your LTV is really, really important because the goal here is to extend LTV as high as possible. Let's say, look at 2 different gyms. If gym 1 is in this marketplace along with gym 2, right? And so I'm gonna draw a line right here. Gym 1 has an LTV of, let's say, 1K, okay? Gosh, this is hard to write sideways, guys, so just bear with me. I appreciate you doing that. And then gym 2 has an LTV of 5K, and they're the same type of gym. Which one do you think can spend more to acquire a client? Which one? 1 or 2? It's always gonna be 2 because their LTV is 5K. They make way more money on average from their clients, which is a reflection of their service, their pricing, their ability to sell, their ability to keep people. Which one is the more valuable gym? It's gonna be this one, the one that has a higher LTV because their clients stay longer. They charge better pricing. They keep them, they have more profit. This is gonna be the one that matters the most. This one, you'd have to be super high volume. You'd have to acquire members at a really low cost and super high volume. Because if you're really low price, like a Planet Fitness, and you get a 1K, like LTV, cool, that's great. But you better be super high volume. But this one is always going to win because they have more money to spend to go out and get more clients. Or when they get to a point where they're nearly full, they have more money that they can pocket. And this is the game. And this is every business. Your entire goal is to extend LTV. And there's lots of different ways you can do that. You can do upsells, you can do cross sells, you can do downsells, you can sell them other things, you can sell them supplements, apparel, products, events, specialty programs, personal training, you name it. You could sell them all these things, which all adds to the average revenue that someone's going to give you over time. And this is why thinking about it from a business model standpoint is so important. Because if we go in as a gym owner, like I did when I first started, and I just think about, I just need X number of members paying me X amount per month, flat membership, unlimited memberships. I'm gonna be great. Good, I just get to $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month or $40,000 a month. It's gonna be great. It's not true though, because we're missing out on a ton of revenue. And a lot of times we're not looking and tracking what is the actual lifetime value of our clients and where can I expand that? What are the levers that I can pull inside of my business to make more money per client, give them better service, better results, and also pay my team more and be able to profit more. And that's what a higher LTV does. All right, so LTV is number 3. The next one, I'm gonna get deep on this one. This one is called Cohort Churn. This one is super important. I'm gonna give you an example. A lot of times when I hop on with a gym owner and I'm coaching them, and I run daily calls a lot in our gym launch space. So if you'd actually like to learn directly from me, feel free. There's a link down below. You can join the school group, learn more about it. And then if you want to join Gym Launch, you can hop on a daily call with me and you can ask me questions all day long and I'll help you grow your business. Cohort churn. A lot of times when I get questions about churn, people are like, yeah, you know what? I got to fix my churn. And a lot of times they're not wrong. But the problem is we can't just look at overall average churn, because there's a huge difference on when a client joins and how long they've been with you. Because what you want to do is not just look at overall churn. You want to look at who's churning and when in their journey. So how do we do this? What we do with cohort churn is you basically break out, and I'm gonna write this out so you can see it a little bit better. You take all your churn for the last 12 months, and you're gonna bucket all these people from you look at their start date and when they churned. Let's say everyone in your gym started on January 1st. You open the doors, January 1st, everyone started there. So you take your start date of the last 12 months of all your exits, take the start date when they joined you, and then the end date, meaning the month or the day that they churned, and you add them into these buckets, these cohorts, in month 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12. All right? So you bucket them into there. So you go through that list. Let's say you have 100 people that exited overall. You had 100% exit churn. That sucks. It's not true, but let's just say it. You did. You had 100 exits. Then you take those exits and you add, let's say in this one, I had 25. In this one, I had 10. This one, I had 5. Let's say I had 30 here. We're at 70. I had 20 here, and then I had 10 here. Okay? So now when I look at this and I break this out, instead of going off my feeling of you know what? Either everyone stays, which I hear a lot. I don't have high churn. Everyone stays. My OGs, I have clients that have been with me for years. Well, guess what? Yeah, because these are the people, once they get past this, maybe you have no churn after this, right? Everyone just stays afterwards. But you don't realize, and you're not tracking the churn early on, and you realize that, shoot, I'm losing 25%. 25% of my churn happens in months 1 and 2. So instead of going through your business thinking that you're doing better than you are, now you have data to back it up. And the best part about this is that you now get to look at the client journey and you get to see, okay, well, I'm losing 25% of my clients here. So there's something about my onboarding. There's something about the first month or 2 of my client's experience that's leading them to want to exit. So are we not delivering on what we promised? Are we not setting the right expectations in sales? Are we not teaching them enough in the beginning? Or maybe we're teaching them too much and we're asking them to do too many things. We see this a lot with a lot of gym owners, and that leads to exits. Okay, so that'd be the first thing I'd attack. Let's try to get more people in the pipeline. But you know what? I do great in month 3 and 4. If I can just get them past the second month, we're good. But then over here, I start to lose them in month 7 and 8. Maybe it's because we're not meeting with them and then setting a new plan for them. Maybe we're not setting goals. Maybe we're not tracking their progress in their training and they're not able to see any true value in this. Maybe you're just focused on weight loss and you're not focused on strength gains or other improvements in the gym. And so all of this, and maybe not doing events, there's so many things that could happen to this, but what it does is you're not just scattered trying to figure out, well, I have high churn, everyone's leaving, I need to fix it. You get to pinpoint exactly in the journey where they are. And this allows you to, again, have clarity and decisiveness so that you can go in and fix that primary problem, and then you can move on to the next one. And so I'm a huge fan of cohort churn. We use it in our business. It's an incredible thing. It's frankly a hack. I hate using that word, but it is just a simple hack. It's a little trick and it works so well. Every gym that does this, it's just like a light bulb moment. They're like, oh, you're right. That's why I've been feeling like I haven't been growing. Even though my churn is pretty low, my average churn is pretty low, that's why I haven't been growing, because all of my churn happens in the first month. And they're like, I have people that have been with me for 4 or 5 years, but I'm still not growing. Why is that? Well, it's because you lose everyone in the first 1 to 2 months or 3 months. And so breaking this out into cohort churn will give you a ton of insight and data into the health of your business on a greater level. All right, so that is cohort churn. And the last one is gross margin per session. All right, so I'm just gonna put GM, percentage per session. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, gross margin, by the way, is you take your revenue minus your cost of goods sold. And that's gonna give you your gross margin. Now the percentage is just like how much, what's the percentage of margin that I have, like gross profit in that. And my cost of goods sold when it comes to a training facility, so a group-led coaching, you have coaches, my cost of goods sold is simply how much does it cost me to pay my trainers versus how much revenue do I make per session. This one is a little bit more of a deeper calculation. And frankly, I'm not going to get into it on this video because what I've found is that it can be a little bit confusing as I go through it. And I've already done multiple trainings on this, and I have a free training inside of our free group. It's a school group. There's a link down in the description. You can go there. It goes in deep on this, on how you can do it at a minute single class all the way to just overall get the average of what your gross margin is. But the reason why this is really important is a lot of times in gyms, and I had this problem, is you set a schedule. Let's say you have 5 or 6 sessions a day, right? And you're really busy in the morning and you're really busy in the evening, but then some of those middle times, not so busy, but you're like, you know what? I've got three people in there and they're OGs and that's their favorite class. I can't cancel it. But here's the thing. Depending on your pricing and what you pay your coach, you're losing money every single time you have that session. And I understand you want to change people's lives and you want to do this, but at the end of the day, you cannot be a nonprofit unless you are actually a 501c3 nonprofit. You're in the business, you have to be able to make a profit, because if you don't make a profit, you're gonna struggle, you're gonna shut down, and then you can't change any lives. And so it's really important to track how much money, how much revenue you're making every session, and then what your payments are to your trainers, and know the difference. Your goal here on gross margin per session, and I'll write this on here, is a minimum of 80% gross margin, minimum, which means an example of this is if your average revenue in a session is $100, so you make an average of $100, and it costs you $20 to fulfill that session. So all in cost for your trainer is $20. That's 80% gross margin. And the reason why that's really important, you're like, why 80? Why can't it be 60 or 50? Well, it's because you have all the other expenses that go into it. That doesn't account for CAC, that doesn't account for rent, that doesn't account for your utilities, your CRMs, anything else. All that stuff gets taken out, which then reduces your actual profit margin. And so 80% is the basement floor. We wanna always be above that. That's the minimum that you have to hit, which means that if you're not there and you run the calculation, go to the free school group to grab it. When you do this, what happens is anything that's below that, you have 2 options. If you have a class that's underperforming, you either have to get more people into that class, so I gotta sell more people into it, or I have to cut it. And most of the time that I have seen from most gym owners, they should just simply cut it. That's it. So now you have less payroll, you're not losing money, and you can usually shift people to either an earlier class or a later class. And then it makes your schedule even simpler. It makes it easier for your trainers. You don't have all these scattered sessions, and you get to make more money. So it's way simpler, all right? So these are the 5 that you should track, but most gym owners don't. Again, CAC, cost to acquire a client. This tells you again, how much is it gonna cost me to grow? Our 30-day cash cycle, how much cash can I collect in the first 30 days to be able to offset my CAC and be able to go out and spend more money and be profitable? My LTV, lifetime value of a client on average. This gives me the overall health of my business when I think about the value that I bring in there, because it takes into account churn and the average revenue that I make per month. And then I look at cohort churn, which allows me to single in and really get into the details of exactly where the churn is happening in my business, where the drop off is in my experience, so that I don't have to go in scattered trying to fix everything in churn. I can go into specific areas of the client journey, find the holes, fix those, and then move on. And then the last one is gross margin per session. So I stop losing money in my sessions and I can pocket more, create more profit, which allows you to go out, reach more people, change more lives, and build a wildly profitable business. Now, if you like this stuff, you wanna learn way more about this, we have, like I've mentioned a bunch of times, a free school group just for gym owners. It is just for gym owners. There's a link down in the description. Click that link, join the group, learn a ton about how to get more members, how to get more leads, how to learn how to run your business better. We have so much information in there. And in there, if you find what you like interesting and you wanna learn more about how we here at Gym Launch can help you grow your business, you'll have plenty of opportunities. You can book a call with us, find out more about what we're doing. But either way, no matter what, I genuinely appreciate you watching this. And as always, Gym Owners rule.